Have you ever had that feeling, that little pit in your stomach when your manager asks for a project estimate and you have absolutely no idea where to even begin? Well, today we're going to jump right into that exact challenge with Jody, an apprentice project manager. She's up against a really crucial part of her level 4 apprenticeship, K18, estimating methods. And trust me, the pressure is on.
Yeah, that's the voice just screaming inside Jody's head. Her line manager at IBIS stores, Riedel, needs a budget for a brand new marketing campaign. And, she kind of needed it yesterday. So Jody's just staring at this blank spreadsheet, and that Friday deadline is just looming, getting closer and closer. So picture this. Jody's got her task, but the K18 module requirements, they might as well be written in a different language. I mean, how on earth are you supposed to predict the time, the cost, and all the resources for a project that's, well, it's barely more than an idea at this point? It really feels like she's being asked to be a mind reader, not a project manager.
But luckily for her, her mentor, Adam, seems to have a sixth sense for that pre-deadline panic. He pulls her aside and lets her in on a little secret. Estimating isn't some kind of magic trick with a crystal ball. Nope. It's all about having a toolbox full of different methods and, crucially, knowing which tool to use for the job you've got in front of you. So Adam decides, right, let's cut through all the noise. He starts breaking down the main estimating methods Jody needs to get a handle on, and he starts with the one that's going to be a total lifesaver for that Friday deadline with Riddle. First up is analogous estimating. You might have heard it called top-down. Adam explains this is your absolute go-to when you're short on details. You're basically looking at a similar project from the past and using it as a rough guide. He tells her, look, just think of it as saying, the last spring campaign we ran at IBIS stores cost about this much, so this new one, it should be in the same ballpark.
It's quick, it's cheap, which is, perfect for what Jody needs right now. But here's the catch, and there's always the catch, right? It's the least accurate method of the bunch. It all really depends on how similar that old project actually is to your new one. The big takeaway here, when you need a number now, this is your tool. But you gotta treat it as a conversation starter, not the final set-in-stone number.
Next up, Adam introduces parametric estimating. Now this one's a little more of a numbers game. You're using a statistical relationship to figure out your estimate. So for example, if you know it costs, say, $10 for every 1,000 clicks on your online ads, you can use that single piece of data to estimate the ad spent for a much, much bigger campaign. It's all about finding that one reliable unit you can measure by.
So this method, it's a definite step up in accuracy from analogous, and it's scalable, which is great. It's perfect for those repetitive tasks that a place like IBIS stores does all the time, like setting up new product pages. The only real downside? You have to have solid historical data for it to work. It's not your best choice for a totally unique, one-of-a-kind project.
And finally, Adam gets to what is really the gold standard for accuracy, bottom-up estimating. This is where you get super, super granular. You break the entire project down into the smallest possible tasks, what we call work packages, and you estimate each one individually. Then you just add them all up. It's kind of like building your entire budget one tiny Lego brick at a time.
Okay, so here's the deal with bottom-up. On the one hand, it's incredibly accurate. You get a really detailed understanding of the whole project, and it's fantastic for getting your team on board because you've literally thought through every single step. But all that beautiful detail comes with a price. It takes a ton of time and resources. You can only really do this when you know exactly what the project scope is, down to the last detail.
All right, so now that Jody has these tools in her belt, she is ready to tackle Rattel's request. And you can just see the light bulb go off. It's not about finding one single magic number. It's about using the right method for the right moment. And this just shows her strategy perfectly. It's a two-stage attack. For Riddle's urgent Friday deadline, she's all in on analogous estimating. She quickly looks at 3 past marketing campaigns to give a rough, high-level budget. Then, later, once the project gets the green light and things are a bit clearer, she switches gears completely to bottom-up estimating. She'll break the whole campaign down into tiny tasks to create a super detailed and way more accurate project plan. Genius.
So Jody completely nails the estimate for Riddle. It's a huge win. But her work isn't over, not by a long shot. For her apprenticeship, she has to prove she's mastered K18. And that means it's time for a chat with her skills coach, Olivia, about building out her evidence portfolio in Aptem, which is the system they use to track all her progress.
And Olivia makes such an important point here. She says that just uploading a spreadsheet, well, that's not going to cut it. The assessors, they want to see the why behind the what. They want to understand Jody's thought process. Why did you choose that particular method? What did you learn? How did you actually apply it?
It's really about telling the story of your professional growth. So to make this whole thing easier, Olivia gives Jody this simple but honestly incredibly powerful 4-step framework for her reflective statement. First, describe the situation. What was the project? Second, explain your choice. Why did you pick that method over the others? Justify it. Third, analyze the result. How did it go? And fourth, reflect on your learning. What would you do differently? This structure turns a simple task into solid, undeniable proof of your competence. And Olivia is crystal clear about what that proof actually looks like. Jody can upload her estimation reports, to show her work. She can upload the final project plan to show the outcome, her written reflection to tell that story, and even a witness testimony from Adam or Riddle to back it all up. This mix of hard data and personal reflection is exactly what a great Aptum portfolio is all about. So with a really strong portfolio submitted, Jody's final hurdle is the endpoint assessment, the EPA. This is like the final exam at the end of her apprenticeship, and it includes a professional discussion where an independent assessor is going to really dig deep into her understanding of this stuff. So imagine this. The assessor throws a real curveball question, one that's designed to test her thinking on her feet. How would you select an estimating method for a project with high uncertainty? A single number estimate here, it just feels like a total gamble. But Jody doesn't panic. Not at all. She remembers exactly what she learned from Adam and Olivia. When the road ahead is foggy and uncertain, you don't just take a wild guess. You use a method that actually embraces and accounts for that uncertainty. And that special method is called 3-point estimating. Instead of giving just one number, you give a range. What's the best case scenario? The optimistic estimate. What's the absolute worst case? The pessimistic. And what's the most realistic, most likely outcome? This approach gives a much more complete and, frankly, more honest picture of what could happen. And this slide basically lays out Jody's home run answer. She starts by acknowledging the challenge that a single-point estimate is risky. Then she proposes 3-point estimating as the solution. She explains why it's the right choice, and then, and this is the pro move, she shows off her deeper knowledge by mentioning the PERT formula. That's a way to get a weighted average. Finally, she connects it all back to good project management. That's an A+ answer. And just like that, Jody's whole journey comes full circle. She went from being totally overwhelmed by a single knowledge module to absolutely mastering it. She didn't just memorize definitions, she learned how to use these methods in the real world. And just as importantly, she learned how to prove it for her apprenticeship.
Jody's story is really a roadmap for success. So as you tackle your own apprenticeship journey, the real question is this: what's the first step you're going to take to break down, apply, and evidence your next big challenge?